Hello and welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today we'll be listing the top 10 most powerful characters in The Walking Dead. We are not doing just raw strength, we are doing whole skill sets. So some characters might not be the strongest physically, however they make it up in other attributes. Diving right in, and in 10th place is Jesus. You might be surprised why he's so low, because Jesus is definitely one of the best fighters on The Walking Dead. However, the reason why he's in 10th place is because he is held back by his humanity. Jesus has all these skills at his disposal, however, he doesn't use them to their full effect because of his humanity, and he's trying to hold himself to this mark, which is no longer relevant in some situations, and because of that, he ends up losing fights. Even though he's physically the best fighter, he ends up losing because he's trying not to kill, he's trying to disarm, and he's trying to de-escalate instead of ending the situation as quickly as possible. In a way, he nerfs himself, and that's why he's the bottom of this list. Number 9 is Carol, and the reason why she's on this list, even though she's definitely not one of the strongest characters physically, is because of all the other attributes she has. Carol is a great character at playing to her strengths. She is very good at manipulating, making people like her, and then being behind the scenes, making sure she is always on top. She knows what she's good at, she knows what she's bad at, and she is willing to do anything for her group and family. However, at times, this can be a detriment because she can just keep going and she ends up making things worse because of her constant moving forwards and ability to do anything that is required. She doesn't really have that barrier that stops her from going over the edge. Number 8 is Abraham, and he is definitely one of the strongest characters physically, and he has military training, which is a big bonus to how powerful he is. However, the issue with Abraham is he mostly focuses on using brute force instead of his brains and strategic mind. And Abraham has a short temper, and at times this can lead to Abraham taking out on his own people or making mistakes. If he didn't have this issue of a short temper, he would be way more effective at using the skills that he has at hand. Number 7 is Michonne, and with melee weapons, she is a force to be reckoned with. She is one of the best melee fighters in The Walking Dead. And she is not above using dirty tactics to overpower enemies if she cannot defeat them in conventional means. On top of this, Michonne is also a very agile character, and this leads to her being a force to be reckoned with. Number 6 is Rick Grimes, and he is one of the most adaptable and ruthless characters in the show. He wasn't at the start, however. The issue of Rick Grimes originally was he wasn't adaptable at the start. He took a while, a couple months, to really settle into the apocalypse, and this led to a lot of issues early on. However, once you got past those first few months and growing pains of Rick, he is definitely one of the most ruthless characters, and he is able to take on insurmountable forces at times. He has one of the best shots in the show. He also has police training, which helps him to naturally lead people and control situations. Rick Grimes also has one of the highest amount of just endurance. He is able to take the most force and just continue on, and it's mostly because of his drive and stubbornness. He is focused on his family, and that just keeps him going through stabs, it keeps him going through shots and walkers and blowing up on a bridge. He is a character that is just so focused, he refuses to die. Number 5 is Daryl, and he is easily one of the most adaptable characters, and he's a jack of all trades. He's a great tracker, he is great with a crossbow, he is great at hand-to-hand combat, and he is amazing at being able to change situations. If he's fighting against a certain character he can't beat, he would change how he fights. Example being, he can't physically overpower Beta, so he uses his smarts. However, the issue with Daryl is that he can become too emotional, and he ends up becoming very rash. Daryl does make a lot of bad decisions a lot of the time based on his emotions, and it does hold him back and to get him into tricky situations that he can't get out of easily. Daryl is more or less his worst enemy in a way, because he might be great at doing all these things, however he is always the reason he ends up getting into really bad situations and ends up being hurt. Number 4 is Negan, and he is so high because of his intelligence. He is easily one of the most intelligent characters in The Walking Dead, and he might be powerful with his bat and he's able to destroy walkers easily and overpower some characters. However, what gives him the edge is his ability to think them. He is able to go, okay, I'm going to defeat you this way, but if I go this way, I win. He is a very smart character, and Negan always plays to his strengths, which is his charisma and strategic mind. Negan is also one of those few characters which will go over that moral boundary and do bad things and go the distance to make sure he is always the one on top. A prime example of Negan using intelligence to win a fight is against Carver. It was a 3v1 and Carver was being able to destroy everyone. However, Negan was the only one to be able to defeat him just because he used his intelligence to get a distraction so he could blind and knock out Carver. Number 3 is Morgan, and the reason why he's so high is because he turns into a Terminator. Morgan is amazing with his staff, and he has some martial arts training. He's just a man who just doesn't care anymore, and when he snaps, he snaps. Clear Morgan kills anything that moves. He is a character that just doesn't care if he lives or dies, and he will run to any situation and just destroy everyone there. During season 7 and 8 of The Walking Dead, he was easily on par, if not a better fighter than Jesus. Just because Jesus was holding himself back because of his moral compass, Morgan didn't care. He was shot, didn't care. He just continued moving. Morgan is like an unstoppable force, and that's why he's so high. Talking about unstoppable forces, number 2 has to be Beta, and he is the human equivalent of a tank. He is easily the strongest character we've ever had on The Walking Dead. He has all that raw power, but the issue with Beta is that he can be outsmarted. He is not the smartest. He does have a bit of strategic thinking. However, Beta relies mostly on his raw brute strength to get through other things, instead of maybe using a bit of his intelligence. Beta also has the issue of his whole sanity rests upon Alpha, and once Alpha goes, Beta just goes. And unlike Morgan, where he goes insane and turns into a Terminator, Beta goes insane and he ends up getting worse in a way. He makes mistakes that he wouldn't otherwise be making, and that really does let Beta down a little. And at number 1, the most powerful character in The Walking Dead for me is Mercer, and he might not be as physically strong and imposing as Beta. However, he doesn't have Beta's drawbacks, and he also has military training, or training like military training, that Abraham has. He is basically a character with both the bonuses of those two characters. He is a very strategic character, and the only thing you could probably say negative about Mercer and his power set is that he might be slightly too moral, and he won't go to the reaches of doing bad things like maybe Carol or Negan would do. But overall, he is easily the character that could beat every other character in The Walking Dead. There's only so much intelligence that our skinnier and smaller characters could do against Mercer when he has the raw power, the strategic mind, and all of his training that is backing him up. And that is my list of what I think is the top 10 most powerful characters in The Walking Dead. So please tell me down below, do you agree with my list or do you disagree? I'd like to know all your thoughts and opinions on The Walking Dead down below. But this is it for me today, so make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all things Walking Dead universe. So goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you in my next video.